get a chance to be on your show to support you.
Welcome to 100 Yards of Football, and tonight is our legend segment. And y'all know how we do it, man. You know, we deep with legends in the city of Delray Beach. I got with me tonight, listen, man, my guy, track star, Alan Cooper. Alan, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here.
Man, it's so good to have you, man. Every time I think about you, I just smile, man, because I think about so many good memories we have. We shared over the years with each other, and I remember, and we'll talk about that a little later. How we ran into each other in college at an event. So look, man, so what's been going on with you?
It's like been here in the ATL probably about 30 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Got here, graduated from college, and when you got out of school, I was still running. Just trying to pick up sponsorship.
Right.
And it was kind of rough, but it was a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
The opportunity that I had, 'cause I got a chance to meet a bunch of, be coached by world-class guys,
Absolutely.
And it's like my track coach at Southern, T. Paxton, was like Rodney Milburn's coach on the 72 Olympic gold medal.
Wow.
So I had the same coach, and I also had another coach who was a Willie Davenport, the 6-10 gold medalist.
Oh, wow.
And I got the chance to be blessed to be in the presence of greatness, to train with these kids. But at the same time, it was like you running and stuff, but at the same time, you got like experience and education at the same time.
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna get into that because I gotta find out some things about you that I don't know.
Okay.
We come from the city of Delray Beach, and football was my dominant sport. We ran track together at high school and competed against each other in college. But you played football for the Rocks, right? When you came to Atlantic, you took the gear off. What was up with that?
Well, my thing was like, what used to really get me in Delray was at that time we had so many athletes, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. I'm like, when you just had to find your spot to fit in.
Yeah.
And I ended up in Delray. We moved from Fulton Beach.
Okay.
To Delray in 1970.
Okay.
And the weird thing about it was that when I was a little kid, I used to hang out with Barry Hill, because Barry Hill was from Fort Walton too, but he moved to Delray.
Right.
So when I got down to Delray, I'm like, wow, I left the North Florida to the South Florida, and these kids down here ain't no joke. It's like I was in elementary, running all over these cats up there, playing soccer, everything.
Right.
I came to Delray, I'm like, these cats is like, oh my God. So then I got into football, because that's what you had to do.
Yeah.
If you didn't have the uniform on, you was be a target.
Right.
So you just get for the Rocks just to be protected in the community.
Yeah.
And when I got on the Rocks, I ended up at Delray Elementary, and my 4th grade teacher was a guy named Coach Caesar, Willie Caesar.
Bill Caesar, yep.
And then I ended up going on to Carver Middle School. At that time, it used to be Carver High. Coach Caesar was over there. And we'd be messing around in PE. I'd be running around and jumping over chairs and stuff. He said, "You do that again." So he said, "You can be a track practice tomorrow."
Right.
I said, "Okay, coach." But at the same time, I'm playing for the Rocks. A lot of my Delray Rocks fans, they didn't know I was over there running track at Carver, because they see me come to football practice just the usual, playing football. But they didn't know I had a track life on the side.
Right.
And it was weird back in those days, because I'm over at the track field, and I met a guy named Planet Grisby. And I'm like, oh my God, this man is like my age, but he got a full beard, mustache, like a grown man as a child. This guy was a man child. So we had a track team, coach put a track team together. Me, him, I think Ed Potts, Dave Dent. And in fact, we had a relay so sweet. Wow. We had a girl named Felicia Durden that anchored for us. So we could find the 4th leg.
Wow.
So we had a sister who used to anchor for us. Wow. We would blow everybody out in Palm Beach County. And they said, look at that sister run that thing. And everybody used to go crazy because they said, you got a girl anchor for them.
Hey, but Alicia was fast now.
She was fast.
She was a track star in her own right, man. Even at Atlantic High School, she performed really well when she came.
So I ended up over there with you at Atlantic, and y'all were superstars over there in the city football team. So I came over to Atlantic, and Coach Harris came and called me out the stands because I was watching the track meet. And he said, "Boy, why you sit up in the stands?" He said, "Coach Caesar told me all about you to cover." I said, "Yeah." He said, well, don't sweat it. Come out next year.
That's awesome, man.
So that next year I came up, that's when y'all was there.
Right.
And coach said, show me what you got. So I never forget, I ran down the track, high school highs. I think I ran a 17.5. They had this guy named Eloy Torres out there.
Eloy, that's right.
And when I ran, he quit the same day. Time I ran, he just gave it up. I'm like,
gave up.
And he became an announcer.
Well, you know, it's funny, right? Because he was our hurdler. I remember that. And then next thing you know, he was gone, right?
I took his spot on one flight. I just went out. That was the end of his career.
So let me ask you something, because
okay.
I remember, you know, I started running track. My story is a little different. The motivation to do multiple sports, because in Delray, you know what we do, man. Everybody play football, right? I mean, it's just a thing to do. And my 8th grade year at Carver Middle School, you know, I was looking for another sport to participate in, so I didn't have to clean the house up. And that's really my motivation. I was looking for something to do, not to go home, because I didn't want to clean the house, wash the dishes, back on the floor. I didn't want to do that, right? So I found track, and it was amazing, because my I guess one of my giftings in life was I was able to jump, and so I was a good long jumper. You know, I was fast, but you know, we had some guys in the county that could run. You know, we had Eli Martin from Glade Central, from Belglade. We had a guy named Tim Butch from Boca, who was from Delray, and Preston Williams, Van, my buddy, from Boca. And so there was some stiff competition. But in the long jump, you know, I can win that, right? So that's how I got called out and fell in love with the thing. And then I remember, you know, word got around campus at Carver that I was, you know, long jumping, that nobody in the county could beat me. And so all of a sudden, Mr. Pompey come to practice and start working with me on long jumping. And so I always think about that, because that was a special time. You know, Mr. Pompey is a Delray legend, right? And for him to come out and start working with me long jumping, and you got to think back, and I'm quite sure it was the same when you were at Carver. We didn't have no facility. We had no track. We didn't have anything. And so they had me jumping over the fence. You know how the old fence was broke down around the football field? He put a wire up there and had me jumping so far out, jumping over the wire. Right?
Wow.
But it was a motivation to get me up in the air, right? And so, so that was really good for me. But let's talk about this, because I know one of the things with me, when I look back and what you did in high school at Atlantic in the hurdles, that's not an easy race. You know, a lot of people don't know all the timing, all the form, you know, the disciplines you got to have to be a great hurdler, right? It's not an easy thing to do. I remember when I was young at Atlantic, maybe in the 10th grade, that Coach Price, Norman Price, remember Coach Price?
Coach Price.
He came to Coach Harris talking about Bobby ought to be a hurdler. I told Coach Harris, I ain't jumping no hurdle. I tell you that right now. It was just too much. People don't know what's all involved with running hurdles. So walk us through that. Explain to us what it takes to be a great hurdler.
Well, back in our era, you had no technology like now. You couldn't go to YouTube. You couldn't really have nobody really show what's going on. Right. So I got wind of another Delray legend that we had at that time, a guy named Sherman Davis.
Right.
Boca. And I used to go from Electric. I didn't have a coach. I mean, Coach Murray helped me from time to time. But I would catch a ride over to Boca and Sherman and a guy named Michael Dorch.
Michael Dorch, that's right.
In the 300s. And Sherman was excellent. He didn't like the 300s, but he'll run them.
Right.
But Sherman was like, I've never seen anybody at his height that can get over them highs, high school highs. And I never forget, I would get technique down with him and just train with him. And I appreciate how he just took time out with me to work with me, because he knew I really didn't have a coach.
Right.
But I started, I started getting my pacing down with him, everyday training and running with Mike Dorch, learning how to run those 300s. Because I was just like a sophomore. I just got thrust in the game.
Well, you were young, absolutely.
I was young, I was happy, but the point, I started being able to run with the guys, the older guys. And I never forget, we was at County one night, 1977. Sherman came down and fights. I never seen nobody run that fast. They got dropped a 13-5 early in the season. And I'm looking like, wow. I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm training for him.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, at the same time that year, if you look in track and field news, you can go whole issue. There was only 2 high schools in 1977 in America that ran a 13-5 like in March.
That's right.
One was Sherman Davis from Delray Beach. The other one was Ronaldo Nehemiah, Scotch Plains, New Jersey.
Right.
So I always wondered, I'm like, man, if Sherman would have stayed with him, he probably could have been running the skeets back in the day.
Exactly.
He left his senior year to go to the military. You know, we never saw him there.
Right. Man,
but he had blessed me with so much of technique and training.
Yes.
When they left, with the rest of my senior sophomore year with y'all, because y'all was a serious relay team in 4x1,
right,
and 4x2, because you had Armstrong, you had like you, Larry, sometimes Tim Cornelius on it.
Sometimes
Thomas, I don't have a chance to ever get on a relay like that. So I'm gonna stick to the hurdles.
Right.
But I do recall running a guy named James Gansey out of Santos. I could actually run with this guy, and he was a senior.
Right.
And I never forget that regional track meet we had. Y'all went to the state. I almost made the state, but I wiped out on the next to the last hurdle. Running against Gansey. Gansey said, "If you just stick with me, I'll get you there, young blood." And I'm like, man, I almost made it my first time out. I didn't realize the potential that I had to come from running a 17-5 to danger to a 15 flat 2 seconds off in the same season.
Right.
I'm like, man, I'm on to something.
That's pretty good. Because I tell you, man, I remember, you know, it's amazing about our track team, right? You know, everybody knows for football. And then there's a group of people who know Delray for baseball. You know, our baseball team was no joke at Atlantic High School, right? A lot of people don't know that. But our track club was no joke either. And I remember, and here's the thing I remember about our track team, that everybody wanted to be a part of it. I can remember being in the stands. I can remember Mike Major. Now, Mike Major was a real small football player, a tough guy. He was 1 year ahead of me. Mike was probably 5'8", 5'9" on a good day, maybe 160, right? And he played offensive line. He played offensive line on the football team. So that just told you right there, he ain't got the skill to run the ball or catch the ball because, you know, we would put him somewhere like that at that size. But he wanted to be on the track team so bad. Coach Harris put him in the 800, running 880 yards. That's 2 laps, right? Half a mile. And he was running it one day, and we should have at this particular time, I don't know if you remember this, Alan, we had the rodeo on the football field during the track season, right? And so Mike was running. He ran his first lap, right? And we up in the stands, there was a group of us, we cheering him on. Then as he got over there behind where the long jump pit was, you couldn't see because of the stuff on the rodeo on the fence, stuff they had on the infield. And next thing you know, he never came out, right? So Mike had quit, right? and so you know, Muttley was the biggest comedian we had. And so, you know, Muttley started jonesing the guy and making him feel bad. But it was about a week or two after that, you know, Mike's still hanging in there. One day he went to practice. And the beginning of practice just picked up the pole vault. I'll never forget this. Picked up the pole vault. They set him up and he jumped over the bar.
Wow.
And next thing you know, Mike Major won every regular meet. And the first time he lost a pole vault was at state.
Wow.
Think about that.
He went all the way to state.
He went all the way to state.
Wow.
Pole vault. And it just happened that 1 year for him because, you know, but I say all that to say this. He wanted to be a part of what we was doing on the track. Because, man, we was having a good time. I mean, we was working hard. You know that. We worked hard in practice. Coach Harris was no joke. The work we put in was no joke, right? I can tell you that right now. I ran harder in high school, I believe, I did in college, right?
Man.
And practice, right? And so we were ready, but he wanted to be a part of it, and he found a place, and he got us points. And so I remember people like Mike. I remember people like Mike Franzo. I don't know if you remember Mike Franzo. He was a miler and 2 miler.
Okay.
He's a year older than me. he was the best in the county. So we didn't have like John R. Leonard had like 4 or 5 guys in the mile, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had one guy who gonna win it, so that we're gonna get them 10 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then in the relay, and let's go back in the 4x2, because we didn't run a 4x1 then. 4x2, we was gonna win that in the county. Nobody gonna beat us in the 4x2.
Right?
Nobody. And in the quarter mile, we had Don Monroe and Steve Cornelius. And Don Monroe gonna win the quarter. Dirty Red gonna win the quarter almost every time.
Did y'all have Butterfield at that time too?
Butterfield was in there, but he was one of the group. I mean, he was one of the group, right? So we had we had him. Who else we had? We had Don Monroe, we had Steve Cornelius, and then in the 100 and 200, you had me, you had Alfred Strong, and then Larry and Wendell Thomas never ran the open events.
Right.
They ran the relay. You got a couple of the fastest guys in the county. All they ran was the relays.
Right.
And and then we had Tim Cornelius, who was high jumping 6'10".
Yeah.
So we didn't have so many guys where we were going to just beat you on numbers, right? But we're gonna win the hurdles.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna win and Keith Washington was gonna win the long jump.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Major was gonna win. He's gonna win the pole vault.
Right.
We're gonna win the 4x2. We're gonna win the 4x4.
Right.
We're gonna win the sprint medley.
Right.
We're gonna win the mile and the 2 mile.
Right.
So we wasn't that big, but we're gonna win those events, right? And so it said a lot about it. And then Saul was gonna get points in the shot put.
Right.
We never had a real strong discus thrower, but Saul was gonna get points in the shot put. So in the field events, we're gonna get points in the shot. We're gonna win the long jump, and we're gonna win the high jump.
Right.
And that my junior year, we're gonna win the pole vault.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it was amazing, man. And then in the 100, me and Pee Wee, if Pahokee wasn't there, we was gonna have a chance to win, get 1, 2, or 3 in that, right?
You remember that night you ran Leroy Love? Y'all hit that tape together?
Oh man, I could never beat Leroy Love. Leroy was such a physical dude, man. The most consistent sprinter I know in high school was Leroy Love from Pahokee. Because every time he went out, he was gonna run 9.4.
Right.
I mean, every time, like clockwork, you can count it, 9.4, right?
All you had to do is stay next to him. You get 9.5 or 9.6.
Well, that one day I ran that 9.5. I got it in his hip pocket, and he made a move. I made a move with him. It was perfect timing. But my biggest problem with the 100, for me personally, I wasn't a good block runner.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't run the blocks. So the 220 was really my race, right? That was my race. I get beat in the 100. I wouldn't even care. I tell guys, well, I'll see y'all on the backside. A little later on, I'll see y'all on the backside, right? But we had a great track team, man. But then again, all right, so we ran in a state that had the best. I don't know if any state had track and field like we had. Now, I'm quite sure Texas could compete with us in high school. I'm quite sure some teams in California could compete with us in high school. Mm-hmm. But man, we had in the state of Florida, we had some guys. I was a 10th grader. I made state as a 10th grader for the first time. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And I used to read the magazines, the track magazines of all the top guys in the state, right? Mm-hmm. So Usamak Tier was running for Baker High School. He was running like a 9.3, 9.2. Mm-hmm. You had a guy named James Brown from Daytona, Maryland. He was running 9.2. Mm-hmm. You had the Johnson twins from Brayton or Tampa, Florida. They was running 9.3, 9.4. You had Mike Roberson from Winter Park, running a 9.3. So I go to the state track meet, qualified in one event in the sprint medley. Mm-hmm. When I sprint medley, we had Chuck Jones running the 100. I ran the 200 leg. Steve Cornelius ran the 300 leg, and Dirty Red anchored the thing in the 400, right? Mm-hmm. So we had a pretty good team. So I go there, and I'm sitting there Friday night, because Friday night 1A and 2A run. Mm-hmm. And then the next night 3A and 4A run. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting in the stands, and Leroy Love is getting ready to run the finals in the 100. And I'm rooting them on. I said, bro, you can do it. Now we ain't competing. I'm rooting for him, right?
Right.
So he in the final with McTeer. You know, McTeer is the favorite to win it. But we're up there telling him, bro, if you just come out of the blocks, you just gotta come out of the blocks with him. You just gotta come out of the blocks with him. You know, you can beat him. You gotta come out of the blocks. Man, they blow up that doggone gun. Leroy sounded like he was still in the blocks. McTeer was at 60.
Oh my goodness.
I ain't never seen nothing like that. That night, Alan, he broke the world's record in the 100-yard dash. He ran a 9 flat in high school.
9 flat in high school.
Broke the world's record at Winter Park.
That's never been done again.
Bruh, never. And listen, of course, now I'm there for the first time. I'm scared now. Because, be honest with you, at that time, McTeer was not even the best 100-yard guy at the meet. It was James Brown from Daytona Beach, Maryland. But he was running the next day. And so, of course, we were running the next day. And so after the next day come around, I got a chance to see Mike Roberson win the hurdles. He ran the high hurdles. He won them, walked back up to the 100. And it was Mike Roberson, James Brown, and the Johnson twins, all in the final for the 100-yard dash in 4A. Man, James Brown came out of there smoking. Mike Roberson was in his hip pocket, and James Brown won with a 9.2. And Mike was right in his back pocket. And the Johnson twins was right behind him, man. So we got a chance to see a lot of great track at a young age. And to see a world record broke in front of your eyes. A high school guy who was smoking cigarettes, wasn't even serious about what he was doing. Bruh, I was scared. But it was good. And then you came along, and when you came along in the county, when we left, it was you and Javaro Sims, right?
Yeah, Javaro Sims, Lake Worth.
At Lake Worth.
We had Pew from Lake Worth.
Yep.
They had Sylvester Watson, who was like a 7-foot high jumper from Lake Worth. Okay. And they was loaded. They had relays stacked. Because they had a good coach up there. They had a program up there. Right. And after you left, I'll never forget Coach Harris. And, after you left, my 78, I never forget. We would go. I was like one of the top in 3A in my division. But I would get Coach Harris. I said, Coach, let's go check out some Broward County action. Oh, absolutely. Coach Harris would drive down. We go down to Delray. And all those schools down there, and I would run against a competition in Broward County. Wow. I might be second or third, but I'd be like close to the top boys. Right. And I'm talking about them guys can fly. And then it was funny that year because I would come back to Palm Beach County. I would dust every day on my end. Right. And I never forget they had it in the paper, the all-star teams for Broward County, and I made the first team Broward County paper. I wasn't even from Broward County. Wow, that's amazing. And that's amazing. To show you how the talent was. And then we would go back up and beat guys out in Palm Beach County. And that year, my junior year, they had that national team out of Dillon, a lot of them. Oh yeah. And I ended up beating one of the top guys my senior year. Right. At the county. And the funny thing about it was we had the high jump, we had the hurdle. I beat Bruce Bush out of Dillon. Okay. My senior year at Palm Beach track meet they had. I was there dusting them in the 300s. They was talking up on the mic. Top guy in the nation. That outstanding Philip, Bruce Bush. They said, "This is upset. Who out of Atlantic? They're Atlantic." And I did the same thing in 300s. Then he beat me a great high jumper. Goes to the high jumper, and he got me in the high jump. Right. I might have did 6'6". But another guy in the high jump came in third. A guy named Wilbur Marshall up there, Tassville astronaut. Yep. And I had to look and say, all these name guys. You say, I knew that guy back in high school. He goes on to play for the Chicago Bears, you know. Right. Wilbur Marshall. That's right. Oh my God, I didn't know he was that kind of athlete, you know. Oh man, what you talking about? But see, that's the thing though, Coop. You think about, you know, most of us play multiple sports, right? It was, you know, you have a guy like you, Mike Roberson. I guess the guys who were just like really, really good
in track and field. They probably specialize in track and field in high school. But a lot of times, man, your best guys play. Like I know Mac Tier played football. I know Mike Roberson played football. I know James Brown, Daytona Beach, Maryland, played basketball. He went to school on a basketball scholarship.
What?
We talking about, listen, man, this guy, he was every bit of 6'3", about 195. I mean, a beautiful looking athlete, man. You just think about that size, 6'3", 195. He long jumped over 25 feet, one state. He ran a 200-yard dash, effortless, just smooth, man. And left high school, never ran track again.
Wow.
Never ran track again. Played basketball at the University of Penn in Philadelphia. You know, Penn is almost like an Ivy League school, right? And he was a great basketball player up there, but he never ran track again. And I was fortunate enough to, when I went to college, you know, I didn't even think about running track in college, man, because the guys they had at Florida State, you know, I knew about all those guys. You know, Mike Roberson was on the squad. I thought Mike Roberson was one of the fastest guys I ever seen in my life, even after I saw Mac Tier break the world record. I saw Mike Roberson run the 220 in high school. He ran a 20.6 in high school. And the way he ran that curve, man, I'm like, man, they talking about Mike Tier, but that Mike Roberson is special, right? And so he was at Florida State. Then the guy who was a senior in my class ran the quarter named Walter McCoy.
Oh, yeah, Walter.
You know, Walter was a beast, man, right? And then we had Ron Nelson from Rockledge. And Ron had ran, my senior year, Ron had ran a 100-yard dash. You know, Ron about 6'2", 170, beautiful athlete, man. You know, he was on the track team at Florida State. The Johnson twins from Tampa was on the team. You know, and so I didn't think, you know, I didn't even think that way, right? So here's what happened with me. Here's how I got on the track team in college. So at the end of my sophomore year, you know, after spring football, you know, we had about a month of free time. So me and my roommate, we hanging out. So we're going to the gym to play basketball. And we get to the gym, nobody's in the gym. Like, what's going on? Where everybody at, right? So we come outside the gym, we saw all these people over to the track, which was across the street. And so we walked over there to see what was going on. And they were having intramural track. And so I looked at my roommate, I said, dude, I'm finna long jump, right? Like that. He said, man, you can't long jump. I said, man, I'm finna long jump, right? So to make a long story short, Coop, I jumped and I won and jumped to 23 something and the track coach was there, right? He said, man, we need you on the track team. I said, man, look at here. I said, I don't know. I said, you know, I don't know, Coach Ball, let me do that. He said, well, let me talk to him. He said, if I talk to him, would you do it? I said, I ain't running. I said, I'll jump, but I ain't running because I'm thinking about all the speeds you got. I made it clear I'm not running, right? And so I go, that's my junior year, and I get on the track team the next year. And my first meet was an indoor meet at LSU. And everybody's there, right? And so that day, I'm thinking I'm the fastest guy on the football team in the 40. And they're running the 60. I said, they can't beat me that far. So I'm kind of curious where I was, you know. So I asked him, I said, well, can I get in the 60? Let me do that. He said, yeah, sure, no problem. I finished a distant fourth, right? So that gave me confidence. Oh, man, I'm not that bad, right? Maybe I'm not that bad. And then the next meet, I won it all. Right. There was an indoor meet in Montgomery, Alabama. They had an old wooden track. I don't know if you remember that old wooden track.
Yeah, wooden track.
You remember that? And so I went there and got it in, man. And my confidence went like that. And so then I got on the relay team. And then, you know, I was on the relay team with one of the Johnson twins, with Walter McCoy, and with Mike Roberson. And so, you know, that was a pretty good group of a good company right there. And so I was the leadoff leg that year.
That's a no-brainer right there.
Oh man, I was the leadoff leg that year, and we never lost a 4x1 the whole season except for the last race in the NCAAs, and we finished third. You know, and so that's how I started in college. But you decided to go to Southern University, and tell us about how that happened for you, how you get to Southern and running track and all that.
Well, like you said, I knew that Rodney Milburn, and I knew that there was a reason for articles that was like a school for rappers. It was like at that time, like one of the top HBT in the schools, in the black schools of the nation. And I was messing around and trying to see what I was gonna do in Delray. And I had offers at different places. But mom was like, "You hang with the wrong crew. You don't think you want to leave Delray."
Right.
So my mom talked with Coach Pax out there at Southern, behind my back. And Coach is like, "If you get him here, I got a scholarship for you. Just get him here."
Wow.
Mom, I got my clothes in the trunk. I'm at the coach house. They tell me nothing.
Wow.
And she was like, "I need you to do. I need you to do something for me. Like in August." I was thinking, Mom, she said, "Put on your night suits. We're going to church Sunday." She said, "We're gonna go by, I guess, Piccadilly after church." She said, "I got to go by the airport and pick up something." I had no clue. We went to church. You get something to eat at the airport. She sees your ticket. Here's itinerary. Coach pick you in. Go be a man. I said, "Picking me out." She got in the car. She's like, "Wait on." She drove off. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I'm kicked out." So I got on the plane. I was crying and drying my tears. I'm like, Baton Rouge. And when we was flying, the plane landed in Baton Rouge. So what they do when you get Rouge, the school Southern down from the airport, but they don't tell you that the cab drivers.
Right.
Drive you all the way to LSU, all around town, then back over Southern, and charge you all this money. So when I get to school, the dormitory all, and she was like, I want you at Southern, but you don't know nobody. All your business in Delray, and I want you up at Found."
Right.
She said, "I want you, when you don't know nobody." She said, "I think you can make it if you go on your own."
Right. Absolutely.
So I got to Southern, started meeting a lot of the guys. Some of the guys, I kind of knew them because I ran against a lot of them guys in high school. So some of them was, I felt comfortable. Well, at least I know somebody. So I get out to Southern, and Coach got, man, I'm talking about stacked with athletes. But Coach always say, I mean, I always tell the young cats, I say, "Are you sure you really want to track scholarship?" I'm like, "That's some serious work."
Oh, it's work, bro. It's work.
Every day it's like a job.
It's work.
I said, "You got to be on scholarship." I said, "I've been a student."
Right.
I said, "That class, you got to get 8 for 2 hours every day, sometimes 3 hours."
Sometimes, that's right.
And it's funny because you'll see guys. I mean, you know, I've seen some of the best guys in the world come through that program and run, and maybe stay a year or two, and you never see them again.
Never see them again.
They didn't come for the books.
Right.
But incredible cats.
Right.
And that's why you have to kind of stay focused.
Right.
And Coach will always say, if an underclassman can be an upperclassman, you're going to travel. So I'm out there as a freshman. I'm being a lot of these cats who like juniors and seniors.
Right.
So I'm noticing when they travel, my name not on the paper. I'm like, man, Coach is lying. And I said, you know something? I said, I'm not even going to play this game with him.
Right.
Because Coach was a cute dog, and my dad was a cute dog.
Okay.
So I know they'll blow you a bunch of smoke. So you have to read between the lines.
Right.
So I said, you know something? I said, I'm going to go ahead and just get my book. So I stopped going to practice. And then I never they had a practice at LSU. And the coaches always called me Roy the Crown. He said, boy, I see like the Delray Beach on a banana boat. So that way I kind of knew that he kind of liked me because he always had something to say to me, and I would always say something back to him crazy.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm not afraid of you, Coach, because Coach Harris is golf on us, so you know you can deal with him.
Right.
So I said, I know what I do. I said, I'm gonna just go ahead and sit and chill, let him do his thing, but he's not leaving me next year.
Right. Right.
So I just started practicing, training, and then sophomore year came up. I'm like, it's over with. I dusted a bunch of cats off. I'm like, I'm riding. Me and the couple, one of the other players from Lake Charles.
Right.
We was sophomores on the relay.
Right.
We didn't run on the national relay at the Drakes on the Drakes that year. We were two sophomores on the shoulder hurdle relay.
Oh wow!
We blew everybody that way in the country.
Wow!
And I'm like, I don't care what coach said. I'm in. Like I'm on it. I'm in it.
I'm on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny because you always had competition.
Oh yeah.
Cats would come in, transfer from schools. If they want to run the hurdles, whatever. I would just basically just sit back, you know, and say, well, okay, we'll see what's going on. Sometimes I run the intermediates, but a lot of the guys they know I was notorious for. Late at night in the gym or in the dormitory, I would always do 250 push-ups every night and 250 sit-ups.
Okay.
And it was like I said, because I know somebody coming for me, so I got to step on top of my game.
Absolutely.
And that practice at night, me and a buddy on the baseball team, we go out and we make about run 3 miles every night. Just to race each other on 3 mile distance. So
right.
we just anytime something goes down, we pretty much ready. So, but the one thing that gave me, I was doing this way before technology. I'm like, man, if I knew that now, I would have did 500 sit-ups a night, 500 push-ups a week. Now.
Well, you know, hindsight is always 20/20, man. Because I'm telling you, I'm the same way. You know how skinny I was, right?
Right.
So my whole thing was in high school. I used to watch guys sprinting, right? Like Leroy Love. You know, Leroy Love was, you know, he was built, man. I mean, he had muscles in his back. You know, he just had big thighs and quads. So, but except for him, most guys who had big legs used to always pull. I used to always see him pull hamstrings. So my whole thing was, man, I'm not gonna build my legs up like that.
Right.
You know, but not knowing that, hey, look, man, I need to be getting strengthening my legs and I need to be stretching. I needed that, but just not knowing, right? But one of the things I can say, when I got to Florida State, and you know, the football team, you know, of course, we had a crazy weight program, right? It was no joke. I mean, and you had a coach. The thing about that weight program, Alan, they had a coach over every position in the weight room. So let's just say I go in, the first thing I do is bench press. There's a coach on the bench, making sure I do the reps. And when I get off, the next guy come in, and we ain't sitting around like around, and then I go back. And ain't no rest. So you had somebody on top of you pushing you the whole time. So even when I go to the squat rack, there's a coach over there watching me and making sure I did what I. So going through that, I got stronger, right? And so when I got on the track team at Florida State, you know, I really didn't know how fast I was. I didn't have the confidence because of the guys who were running. But then when I started to run, I said, hey, look, man, I'm just as fast as these guys. Then, of course, your confidence shoot out the roof, right? And so, and then you come a part of what was going on. But I never forget this, though. We were out, I think it was my senior year at Florida State. And we're out at the Texas Relays. And run the Texas Relays. And I'm out there just doing whatever I was doing. And I heard somebody call my name. And I looked around, and it was you. The first time I saw you in a Southern, you know, in your track uniform, we at the same track meet, man, from Delray Beach, right? All the way across the country. And we got there, and then I started rooting for you, man. I started looking for you, man, everywhere. Because I remember that day I saw you. I don't know if you were up there when this happened. Me and your boy, Orlando McDaniel, got into it.
LSU?
From LSU. Because, you know, he played football at LSU. Of course, we played them.
Right.
He was up there talking noise, and we had just beat them. We beat them twice, you know, in a row. I'm like, dude, you couldn't do nothing. And so, and you know how Orlando was. You know, he was like that, right? So we started going at it, man. And I wanted to destroy Orlando. So we got in the same heat, and we ran the same leg in the 4x1. We both ran the third leg. And my senior year, and I probably the best leg I run in my life, you know, because of him. But we were out there competing against the best talent in the country at a high level, right? And some of the guys that was in that meet was just some of the guys that you saw in the Olympics,
right?
Over the years, you know, Calvin Smith, and of course Carl Lewis, and you know, some of those guys, we were out there competing with the world's best at the time, right? And so 2 little old guys from Delray Beach who ran track at Atlantic High School, who would ever thought that, right?
I mean, it's like we were all over the country and met some of the best ever, like in history books now.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So I thought that was neat, man. And then, of course, every time I see something like that, I go, man, now what if Coop would have been playing football? What if I had him on one side and Tim Cornelius on the other side? Man, what could we have done out there? We would have won the state.
We would have won state.
We would have won state. Because I'm telling you right now, we had a lot of great athletes, but everything was predicated on the run. Everything is predicated on running the football. But man, we get guys like Q who can run, Tim Cornelius who can jump and run. He's a decent sprinter.
Tim was off chain.
Man, Tim could have did a lot of things, man. He could have did a lot of things, man. But so take me back, Coop. When I left school, I left college in 1981. Got drafted and came to Atlanta. How did your career end? Tell me what happened to you during your college career to finish up your college career, and then what you did after college in track and field.
Once I finished out of college, because back in those days, in the 80s, it was boycott Olympics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I was, I'm at the 84 training for them, when you're trying to graduate and stuff, focus. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was training with Davenport, state gold medalist, with Willie. And at that time, Willie was about like 40. Mm-hmm. And I met Willie when some rounds. Like, young blood, I'm not doing all that. He said, you can go ahead and do all that. And Willie showed that he probably still drop a 7'1", 7'2" at 40 years old on you. To smoke any young cat out there.
Wow.
So I'm like, wow. And so I'm like, I really want to pursue it. I was trying to get like sponsorship here and there, but at that time, I got ended up in a few sponsors here and there, but I saw that, it wasn't be like, continuous. Mm-hmm. So then I came back to Delray, and I was trying to get me stuff. I might go up to mid Florida, Tampa, some meets, indoor meets or whatever. Mm-hmm. My mom was like, something. She said, you might need to go and get your job.
Right.
And like I said, it ain't like now.
Right.
Like now, the red carpet is you can get all kind of stuff now.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, that went in that era. So I'll never forget. I'm like, okay, mama, I'll go ahead and take a job. So then I did grad school for a year. Mm-hmm. Ended up getting in corporate America working for Hertz.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I'm still trying to figure out, hey, if I work for Hertz, then I can say, well, hey, y'all sponsor me.
Right, exactly, right.
They say, no, you good with what you do. We need you to keep on making the revenue of your office. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a shot. So I was over manager. I ran the airport at Charlotte over there in Charlotte airport for her.
That's amazing, man.
But it was kind of like behind in those early 90s, like behind Atlanta. I'm like, man, I got to go back to Atlanta. It was slow motion for me.
Right.
So I get back to Atlanta and ended up getting into pest control. Never thought I'd even get into pest control.
Right.
So I got into pest control, started running a route, worked my way up from like sales, commercial sales, and started running numbers for them. Mm-hmm. I started telling them, like, well, is there any way I can get into management? Oh, no, you do so good. We like the way you play these little sales presents. So I'm saying, they're playing games.
Right.
So I would ask them stuff they would never tell me. So I started getting books, pest control books on studying at night. Okay. And then we had a crime section one weekend up in Marietta. And the study for the state exam. So that I stayed that weekend and crammed with the rest of the guys. And went into the exam and missed about like 2 points.
Wow.
And then another guy that was working with us from Sirius, we got to talking. I told him what's going on. He said, let me see you study stuff. He said, they never been for you to pass. He didn't have the right books. I said, what? He said, come to the house and I'll give you all the books. Wow. So he gave me all his books. I studied and passed the license, state license. So I went back to the office and the guys was kind of upset. Because they're like, all those managers, when they take the exam, they flunked. Right. And I passed. So it was like, it was like, how do you know all this? I said, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
So then, next thing you know, I started beating with everything I did. Right. Even when I ran a route, I could spray like 20 houses a day. Wow. And I sound like Jordan. Right. I said, but I'm not going to do 23. I do 20. Right. And then I said, you know something? I said, I can do my own thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I got my license. So at that time, I started noticing how it started changing. They don't like you to have your license and stuff. So I said, okay, play this game. So every year, I left them and went to work for a company called Green Tree, which at that time they did all the apartment complexes throughout all around.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, but they had a problem. They didn't have a license at the time, so they worked on my license.
Okay.
So I ended up helping them out for a number of years.
Right.
But I learned commercial game.
So
I got a chance to learn big, high volume commercial accounts.
Right.
I do residential, traumatic size, baiting, fumigations. So I learned a lot.
Wow.
And,
man, that's awesome.
We got to the point where I was like, okay, it's time to go and do something different.
Right.
And once I jumped out there, I had to go by faith.
Right. Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
And when I jumped out there, already being an experienced salesperson, I could sell anything.
Right. Exactly.
So I started meeting people, started talking. They started telling people about me. And even when I was in sales at Terminix, I would memorize everybody's contract, the competitors. And if I go to a customer's house and I talk to them, I said, "Who came back today? Arkin or anybody, Arkin or Terminix or whatever." I said, "Well, let me take this." I said, "What did they say?" Okay, I said, "He told you this, but he didn't tell you this."
Right.
I said, "Another company told you this, they didn't tell you this."
Right.
I said, "Well, it's like this. I don't care who you choose, but I just want to make sure you got the right information. I know you're going to call me back. Why am I going to call you back? Because I always be talking to I'm the only one that told you the truth.
Truth, right.
But here's my card.
Yeah.
Give me a call. Before I get it, don't you leave my door, young man. Let's talk. Get this deal done."
I love
so
it.
I always was honest with folks. And I tell everybody, I say, don't just take your time with the person. Don't have to rip them off.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And then next thing you know, people start calling. To this day, people call me nonstop. I don't know who this people. They said, "We heard about you," this and that. And then once I did that, I went ahead and got a home inspector license.
Right.
I went ahead and got a home appraiser license.
Okay.
So I was well rounded in a lot of areas.
Right. That's cool, man.
And I actually look back and say, "Man, I'm doing all this away from Delray Beach, you know." I think I could have never done this in Delray, you know. I'm like, "Well, I had to come over here to figure out my brain, you know."
Well, that's cool, man. That's cool, man. Well, you know, I tell you, man, you're a special guy, you know, and you know, when I start thinking back, man, on my childhood, man, I just smile all the time, man, because you know, it was just you know, sports, you know, have the ability to build relationships with people, and you get to know people, especially if you're playing together. And then the thing about guys and competing in athletics, we have so much fun because we pick at each other. You know, me and Don Monroe now, he always talk about that day he beat me in the 100. We had, I think it's like a 2 or 3 got team meet. And Coach Harris blow the gun and Don jumped, right? And I'm sitting there looking at Coach like this, and he turned away. And so Don got to be 15, 20 yards, and I take off running, right? And to this day, he always talk about, hey, but you know, it's just the camaraderie, the relationships that you build over the years, the joy. When I can think about you and see you in your Southern uniform, or see you run the hurdle in Atlantic, or at the county meet, and I think about those days, man, I just start smiling. I can't do anything but laugh, man, right? Because all of that for me was just fond memories. And that's why I do this show, man, because I get the opportunity.
But me and you and only a few others ever from Denver really took it to the next level as far as after track high school.
Exactly.
So I can look back on it. We like one of the rare breeds that never did, you know.
That's true. That's true.
And we have some species that we don't know what to do with.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So, but you know, it's just a lot of memories, man, and all the relationships. But you know, it's funny. We're getting to that age now where people are passing. You know.
I know.
And we lost Mutt Lee a couple years ago, and about 6 months after Mutt Lee passed, Steve Cornelius passed, and we were just talking last night. One of our, you probably didn't know Matt Alker. He was a year.
Matt.
Yeah,
Matt played at Davidson, didn't he?
I think he did. I think he did. But Matt was on the football team in Atlantic with me. He passed not long ago.
Wow.
You know, so things that Ernestine Cunningham just passed. Chuck Cunningham's not oldest sister, middle sister. So, you know, man, we're getting to the point where, you know, things like that is happening on a regular. And so I'm happy to be able to get you on the show, man, and talk to some of my buddies, and I always reminisce of the old time, man. It's nothing like it for me, right?
It's nothing like it, man.
It's nothing like it for me. So look, man, that's our show for tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like the show, comment, share it with your friends. My man, Alan Cooper, track legend from Delray Beach. Should have been saying football legend along with that, but that's okay. He's a track legend.
Appreciate it.
And appreciate you, man.
Okay.
Peace.